Hey guys, welcome back to Dizzle Matrix. If you clicked on this video, then I know what you're here for. Today we're going to discuss how to measure and mix your peptides. Now that being said, I don't want any problems with my channel, so let me be very clear. This is not medical advice. This is for entertainment and research purposes only, and everything that I'm going to demonstrate is simulated. None of this is actual product. So just to teach you how, in my opinion, do your own research, consult a professional. I have no liability and I do not recommend that you do this at any time ever. That being said, let's get into it. Okay, so the first and most important step is identifying which peptide you're going to be taking, all right? So figure it out, make sure that you check your vial. We always talk about dicing out our medications in the medical field, which is basically you want to make sure that it's the right product, exact dose that you want, that it's in there, that it's sealed, that you got it from a reliable source, and that it's for the intended use, which in this case, experimental research use only. We would never put this in our body, right? That being said, I've checked out what I'm going to be doing on this one. So the next important step is figuring out how do we mix this, because peptides come in a powder and you need to add backwater to it to figure out how to get them together. So how much water do I add to my peptide to get it done? Well, it's going to be different for everyone. So I'm going to show you how to do it. There's probably 200 different peptide calculators you can go on Google and do, but let's jump into one just so I can give an example. So you can see the first step and most important step here is you want to fill in what the milligrams of your product is. This is why you don't use unknown, unlabeled vials. So in this case, I'm mixing a 10 milligram vial of powder, meaning that the total amount of powder in here is 10 milligrams. My goal dose, which is also something you need to know going into this, is to make these doses each a half milligram. That would make 10 milligrams 20 doses. You tracking? I hope so. If you don't even try this because it's just math, okay? It's already busting your ass. Just have somebody else do it or don't do it at all. Okay, so we're working with 10 milligrams. I want to make that a half milligram dose. So what I'm going to do is mix 2 milliliters of water, okay? Now, you can slide in here, you can put whatever milligrams you want for the content, whatever milligrams you want for the water, or milliliters, excuse me, and then the desired dosing. So once you get that, it will show you how many units to draw to get the appropriate dose. So typically you're going to be using like an insulin syringe, like a 31 to 33 gauge insulin syringe. It's going to have hopefully 100 units on it. I also recommend that you get one with a low enough reading that you can go down to at least 5 units, because some of them won't start till 5 or 10. And then if your dose is 8 units or 4 units, that's going to be confusing. Also, that's too little. If you do your calculation and it comes out that it says you only need 4 units, I would do half the water. And the reason is because that's just going to make it 8 units, because less than 5 units is almost impossible to accurately measure from experience. So now we know how much. How do we do this? What's the next step? Well, I'm glad you asked, because now we're going to actually mix. Now there's a couple of rules that we want to follow, okay, when we're doing this. Number one, you should have a much larger gauge syringe when you're doing your filling. So again, making sure we have clean backwater and clean product, both capped, factory sealed. We're going to pop those seals, okay, on each of them. They're both open now. And I'm going to go to the overhead camera so you can see more specifically what I'm doing. It's a great time for me to remind you, if you're looking for a good source for peptides, Fit Aminos, use the code DIZZLE right now. You get 10% off your first order. They have COAs, they lab test this stuff. It's the stuff I personally use for research. And go ahead, and if you're looking for a source, it's right there, because they don't let me put links or they cut them. But if you're looking for a source and you're completely lost, Fitaminos.com, code DIZZLE, 10% off your first order. It's what I use for all my research purposes. Don't have to use it, but I'm just offering it out there. Not medical advice. Consult your doctor, your attorney, and your third cousin. Okay, so we have our products. I pulled the caps off of them, right? Also wouldn't hurt to take a little alcohol swab and wipe the tops of these things, okay, beforehand, just to make sure. You can never be too sanitary with this stuff. You don't want any kind of infections. It's gonna end bad. So for this one, I want to fill it with 2 milliliters of water. So I'm going to fill it to the 2 mark. Now, before you fill it, there's 2 different things going on. The backwater, you're gonna have to put air in it to draw it out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw back to 2 milliliters, and we're gonna pump that air into the vial of backwater, okay? Just right in the middle there. Doesn't have to be super precise. Oop. We're gonna pump that air in. Now, whenever we draw, we wanna turn it vertical, okay? So that the vial's on top and the needle's on bottom. Now we're gonna begin our draw to 2 milliliters, all right? Nice and easy. Just water, you can't mess it up on this side. Well, you can always mess this up. I'm always amazed by people. So you see how it's fighting me right there? And we're not at the 2 yet. If that happens, you have 2 choices. You can either muscle it and take it past the 2 and then let it come back, or you could stop and do more air. Your choice. So now we got our 2. You want to get the air bubble out of it. Make sure you're right at 2. Now for the peptide part, it's very important you listen to what I'm saying. These peptide vials are vacuum sealed, okay? So what that means is as soon as you put this needle in here and it perforates here, it's going to try to suck the water in very rapidly. You do not want to do that. Peptides are very delicate. You can destroy them if you're too aggressive. So we want to kind of hold back with 2 fingers here, and I'm going to hold the plunger in my hand. You're going to put the peptide on its side because we don't want it to rain down, okay? And now we're going to slowly, see how I'm doing that really slow? Really slow. It's not just flushing in there at rapid speed. Nice and easy, okay? And we're done. So now we take that out. You want to put this in a sharps container or somewhere safe. Kids' playground or whatever. Just kidding. Anyways, you do not shake this. Don't shake it. You want to slowly, you can see most of it's already dissolving. You want to slowly rotate it. You can roll it on the table a little bit if you want. So we're just going to rotate this for about 30 seconds. The way I'm doing it, I'm not shaking it. Okay. Then it's also helpful, let it sit for like a minute and then come back. And after a minute, and just keep doing that and checking on the crystallization. You'll notice that the crystallization is normal. It'll keep going down. Just keep rotating it. Boring process. Sometimes it can take 10 or 15 minutes to get it all done, right? So, but we're getting it done. And then I'll come back in a second and show you how to draw. All right, so we're back. It's 5 minutes later. All my crystallization is gone. So now I want to draw a dose. So in this case, my dose is going to be 8 for what I'm actually taking. Again, your math would vary. I'm going to be taking 8 units. So I'm going to take this needle and we're going to follow the same protocol. I'm going to draw it back to 8. Draw it back to 8. See, this one doesn't start till 5. That first line's 5. So you really got to pay attention. That's a 5 at the beginning. So if I only want to take 8, it's that. So we're going to inject that air into our peptide. Okay. Pump it in. Again, vertical. Minimize air. And we're going to draw down to the 8. Okay. You can go back past it a little bit and pump a little bit back in there, but just make sure you don't waste it. Stuff's expensive, right? So now I have 8. Now, I'm not going to show injecting because I think that would be too far. I'm already playing with fire here. And again, none of this is real. This is all simulated, right? So what you would do is pick your point that you would inject it, slide it in an angle, and just go ahead and do your thing. All right, so that's it, you guys. There you have it. That's how to mix your peptides. I will also mention you want to refrigerate them once they're mixed. I mean, you could just throw them in a refrigerator right when you get them to be safe anyways. They break down with heat very easy. They break down with agitation very easy, and you don't want to ruin the stuff you just spent $100 or whatever on, right? So don't do that. Make sure you're refrigerating them. Make sure that every time you're taking them, hypothetically, because we're not actually taking them, you're going to wipe that every time, because your refrigerator is not clean and now that's exposed. So before, you always want to wipey. Not going to show injection practices here because that gets too close to medical stuff, and we're only simulating here for entertainment purposes. But I hope this video helped you out. If you have questions, I'm not going to help you with your dosing in the comments. I'll put a link to one of the calculators here. So you guys can go and do the math. If you don't understand the math, you're in way over your head. You should not be participating in this experimental stuff for your experimentation. I don't know how much more clear I can be to cover my ass. We're not doing this. This is not real. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. I'll catch you on the next one. Stay healthy.